Speaking of Charlo, though, Lance Pugmire reporting and moving on. Eddie Reneso has told several guys are possible for May opponents for Canelo, and he included Triple G box on the list. But he mentioned, and it's the first name, Jermall Charlo and Billy Joe Saunders most. Also said he doesn't mind fighting Beterbiev in victory. Ooh. No, I don't think that happens.
Response. That's in straight response to everyone saying Canelo wouldn't fight Beterbiev.
And Canelo, as one of your biggest fans, nah, you don't need to, man. Beterbiev is the bridge too far, for sure. If Kovalev isn't, because he could be, Beterbiev 100% is.
If he completely ices Kovalev in 2 rounds, does he then change your opinion?
Maybe, but that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen, in my opinion. I'm still slightly leaning towards a Kovalev pick, to be honest, which I hate.
Ooh,
I know.
Shit, you better back that.
I'm leaning, and it's preliminary. We have like a week till the fight, guys. Relax, calm down.
Which, by the way, Sky Sports aren't picking up.
Wait, what?
I don't know who's showing Canelo Kovalev. It's all right, though. Sky have got KSI Logan Paul, so don't worry.
Hold on. Watch if ITV picks it up.
ITV? Nah, come on.
No, but wouldn't that be funny if ITV drops all the PBC
I don't care where it is. I want to watch the fucking thing.
No, but
if it's on the
fucking
Cookery channel, I'll be watching it.
Channel Dave?
Dave, yeah. Channel 5. Fucking anywhere.
But digressing, because that's just sad that the idea of Canelo Kovalev not being shown in the UK, that just sounds like it's a crime in 2019.
BT might come in for it, I don't know. But they'll probably make it a pay-per-view.
How does Canelo not get picked up? But digressing from that, obviously Charlo, Billy Joe Saunders are the guys that it seems like Eddie Reneso has mentioned the most for Canelo. Thoughts on those two guys and the possibility of those fights happening in May? Rob?
My feeling is that Canelo will decide to face Billy Joe Saunders in May, and we'll get the Triple G fight in September. That's my prediction. Okay.
Why do you predict that? Why?
Just from watching a bunch of stuff. Eddie seems very confident that Saunders is going to get the shot at Canelo. I've seen other little bits. I don't know, just dropped in elsewhere that's just given me the hunch that maybe there was something in it, and it wasn't just Eddie with Saunders at the time. He saying things that his fighter wanted to hear. There's just seen a few times Canelo sort of posts or whatever, or information regarding Canelo that Billy Joe Saunders has cropped up a couple of times. So maybe that's getting me leaning that way. But I think obviously at 168, it's nothing to do with the 160. Now, Billy Joe's up there. And then Triple G, that would make sense if Canelo's 175 now, May 168, September 160, rather than...
I agree with the September Triple G matchup. I tend to... Obviously, we know Triple G is fighting mandatory in like early January or February, so that kind of... The time doesn't really work for a May fight. You would assume that Triple G would try to have more of a longer layoff, or not longer layoff, I should say, but not have a rushed sort of in-between fight. Yeah. For a Canelo matchup, that would make sense. So since he's fighting Zimmerata in, again, January, February, or no, it was February, there's a date too. It was like February
27th or 8th, something like that.
One of the late February. And
he's got hold on the Wintrust Arena.
Yep, in Chicago. Whatever. So I doubt we get a May fight for Triple G. So I think he's off the table for May specifically. So who would be a fun matchup in Canelo's mind? Putting myself in Canelo's shoes, a guy that has just went and beat Triple G in a rematch, went up to 168 in kind of a tune-up on short notice and beat Rocky Fielding, and then came back down, unified against Daniel Jacobs, moved up 2 weight classes to fight Sergey Kovalev. He's a guy that's clearly headhunting, right? Like, it's a guy like almost like Predator right now. He's on the
Yeah.
prowl looking for the biggest trophy. And
As you expect your franchise champion to do.
and why would you say that?
I didn't mean your specifically.
No, I know that, but I'm like my blood pressure instantly like rose like at least 30 points right there. But digressing from that, if I'm again in Canelo's shoes in his mind, I'm looking at the options here because Canelo can fight anyone. What's a bigger trophy in 2019 right now? It's probably Billy Joe, but it's arguable still. Like that's the thing. Billy Joe Saunders has made it really difficult to be hyped on him because he's fought. Who was his last? Who did he get the vacant belt off of? Asufi, whatever. Now he's fighting Marcelo Corceras, or Michael Cera, as I will call him now on. Like what? Like why, Billy Joe Saunders? However, you have a full legit belt at 168, something Rocky Fielding did not have. I think that's enticing for Canelo. And maybe Canelo's thinking that Charlo long term, air quotes long term, is a big fight. Because it is. If Charlo somehow can rebuild that momentum he had post J-Rock, because he had momentum post J-Rock, then a Texas stadium fight between Canelo and Charlo is massive. It just is.
Potentially, yeah.
I would say even if, like, let's say they fought right now in May, it would still do 50,000, 60,000 people in Dallas Stadium, easy. Canelo Austin Trout did like 48,000 in the Alamo Dome, I want to say, in San Antonio. So Canelo's going to do massive numbers in Texas regardless. You had Charlo, who's from Texas, who I think, again, we talked about this before, is a natural B-side to Canelo, naturally going to egg him on in press conferences, naturally going to give you sound bites. That fight builds itself in a way. But Charlo does not have momentum right now, and that seems to be an issue. I think maybe if he beats up on Dennis Hogan, hopefully he does.
What you gonna do, brother?
Thank you, man. Oh, so sweet. You read my mind. And then, we're going to talk about it later on the show, but the Chris Eubank, Matt Korobov fight, the winner of that is obviously in line for a Charlo fight. And the hope, I would assume, from Al Heyman and PBC is that Chris Eubank wins that fight. And a Charlo-Eubank fight, if Charlo wins that in fun fashion, then momentum is back on, in my opinion. So I would not be surprised to see a Charlo fight early 2021, but May 2020 might be a little bit too soon in Canelo's mind when he can just go fight Billy Joe Saunders and collect a belt in a different division. That's an actual belt, unlike the WBA regular belt he picked up against Rocky Fielding at 168. And again, headhunter Canelo in his shoes, that seems like what I would do. Just being honest.
Yeah, and obviously Beterbiev on the back burner in case he does look really good against Kovalev at 175. But
there's no way. But
that's not a big fight, even though there's a bit of hype around Beterbiev right now. But I think that will just simmer down because of Beterbiev is Beterbiev,
and it's just and it's hardcore simmer too. It's hardcore hype.
Yeah. It's within the bubble, right? So,
I'll be honest. I have serious doubts on how big Canelo Kovalev is going to be, even in respective to like Canelo Jacobs. Don't be surprised to not see a gigantic difference in numbers between the two. Because Kovalev, sort of speaking on momentum and hype and sort of brand around himself right now, isn't the same when he was fighting Andre Ward. So things change, Momentum is huge when it comes to selling a product or an event. You have to have momentum, clearly. But I think Rob, we're pretty much in agreement here that Billy Joe Saunders would probably be the more likely option. But Jermall Charlo still represents money in the Texas market for Canelo. That will always be an option for Canelo Alvarez whenever he wants it, probably.
Yeah.